Hello, my name's Mike Johnson. I'm taking you on an inside and outside video tour of this 2018 Forest River Georgetown motorhome. The GT5 series 31L5 motorhome floor plan. This is a really nice one. You can actually control this one with your smartphone. It has the Connect system. So for example, you can operate the slide outs and the awning and some of the features from the motorhome from an app on your smartphone. So I'm going to start by retracting the slide with the press of a button. Now, you don't want to retract the slide from outside unless you're sure that it's not going to hit anything. I just checked that before I filmed this video. But for the purpose of demonstration, if you're parked at your campground next to a tree or the tower with the power for connecting your RV and you want to extend the slide out, you can stand outside and make sure you don't hit anything. So I'm now extending the slide out, and this has got a really nice slide out system. It's got this gear drive system called a Slim Rack slide out system by Power Gear. This is a big improvement over what the previous RVs had. The older Georgetowns had like a 8 cable system on each slide out, and this is much more reliable. There was also a Schwintek mechanism that some of the motorhome use. This is more reliable. This is a new and improved state-of-the-art slide out drive system. One of the advantages, when the slide is out, there's 4 points of support holding it as part of the coach, and when it's in, there's still 4 points of support holding it in solid to the coach. On the cable drive system they used to use, sometimes the cables would get a little bit loose. This coach is glossy mirror finish, like brand new exterior, frameless windows. So when you look at RVs, you'll notice starting around 2014, frameless windows started to appear. The slide out window is not a frameless window. It has this frame around it. But the new style windows, which they don't use on the slide pockets, are these frameless windows. So you don't see a frame. They're borderless windows. It's all glass on the outside. It gives it a really clean appearance. They can't use those on the slide out because it has to sweep the weather strippings. You don't want water to come in, so the engineers said must still use that older style window on the slide out, which was really cool in the case of this motorhome because you do have the bay view windows. You got 2 of them. As you look at different motorhomes, notice how deep the slide comes out, almost 3 feet deep, and you have a bay view window in the corner of the slide out. So when you're parked next to a beautiful lake or river or someplace scenic, the ocean, you open your slide and you have a panoramic view out your slide out windows. I've seen some diesels, they have like 1 or 2 windows on the side. This has a lot of big windows, and up on top of the awning, this main awning, it's a longer than average awning and it's a deeper than average awning. It's a full room slide, and it has a slide topper awning up on top. Those slide topper awnings are like a conveyor belt to keep off leaves, dirt, debris, sun, and water. So when your slide is extended, you don't have these intrusions into the interior. If you don't have slide topper awnings and you go someplace camping in the fall, they call it fall because all the leaves fall out of the tree. It has giant cargo storage compartments on this motorhome. You have an automatic power transfer switch. Some motorhomes you have to plug your power cord into an outlet. It does have a solar charging quick connect right here. So if you install solar on the coach, it's ready to go. You can put a solar connection right there, built into the motorhome. Big cargo storage and deep as well. Let's open all these up so we'll take a look and see what we have as we go on the left side. I'm trying to keep this video short. This is your full hookup point. You have a full RV water filter. You see it's nice and clean, fresh filter elements in there. And you have fresh water hookup, fresh tank fill, and black tank flush. You have LED lighting in your cargo compartments, and you have an outside shower. So when you go to the beach and you want to wash off sand or dirt or whatever off your feet before you go inside to keep the RV clean, you can do that. Underneath the slide, additional storage here. These are side hinged cargo compartments, which means if you forget to close one and you start driving, the wind will blow them closed to reduce the chance that you're going to hurt somebody. This one has the big 5500 watt generator, huge generator. Here's my hand. Nice big generator. As you look at Class A and Class C and Class B motorhomes, a lot of them only have a little 4,000 watt generator, and that only has enough power to run one air conditioner, but not this one. This one has the big 5500 watt quiet generator. It's quieter and it'll run both roof air conditioners. As we go around the back of this motorhome, glossy mirror finish. This one has a rear window. A lot of RVs these days don't have a rear window. There's a nice campground down in Malibu where you can back your RV up against the hillside facing the ocean, and then nobody can see in because of the drop off. The window would be like 20 feet in the air, and you could have your window and view of the ocean. You could leave your blinds open at night and listen to the waves. It's a really nice setup. This has all LED lighting on this coach. Big backup camera up on top. Roof access ladder. It does have side view cameras. You have your towing hitch with a V5 towing package. 7-pin electrical connector for your trailer hitch connection. It's ready to tow a vehicle or a boat or something behind. If you're towing a 3,000 pound vehicle, you won't even feel it back there unless you leave the brake on. This has a heavy duty strong chassis. And I mentioned these are big cargo compartments. Look, this one is full pass-through. You could fit 4x8 sheets of plywood in here. Here's my hand. And this is for size reference, this is a really big cargo compartment. I'm 6 feet tall. I don't have little tiny hands, you know. This is a nice big cargo compartment. It's about 4 feet across by 2.5 feet tall, roughly. This is one of the biggest cargo compartments. And then in the back here, this is a highlight of this coach. So folding picnic tables, folding chairs, it'll all fit back here. Bicycles, you can bring your bicycles and the handlebars will fit right here. Take the front wheels off. You have a barbecue quick connect, so if you want to put an outside barbecue on your campsite, plug it in right there. An additional cargo compartment. This one is about 4 or 5 feet deep. This is a blackout compartment so that we can service access to the water heater. Now as we're going around the outside, I will get to the inside. If you want, you can fast forward. Let's talk about the water heater before we go beyond this point. The water heater on this coach heats with electricity or gas propane. So if you go camping, what you want to do is take the little cover on this type of water heater off and bend the little tab and set this down, and then there's a little electric switch here. You turn this switch on and you have electric water heat, and then you could go inside and turn it on from inside as well. There's two different models of water heaters. On this type, that's how they activate. And so when you go inside, you have electric heat and propane heat. The advantage of the electric heat and the propane heat working together, it heats your water really fast. It's quick recovery. So it can take nice long showers when you're in the full hookup campground. The other advantage is if you're on electric power, you're not using as much propane for the water heater functions. There's additional cargo compartment here. So outside we have an exterior television. Under the awning we have a full-length LED light strip for the awning, and this is well placed. On some motorhomes you'll find they put the awning light strip in the roller, and the problem with that is then they had to run a wire through the fabric, and sometimes they break, and sometimes you roll up the awning when it's wet and all the water messes up your awning light. But this is mounted to the side of the RV, so it should last for years and years of reliable service. It's very bright at night. I'll put a picture of the awning light and the exterior TV. You have a nice big 32-inch outside television, and you can unclip this if you need to connect something. It has a little notch that you just lift up on the TV and you can unclip it, or if you're afraid to leave the TV when you store it in your storage facility away from your home, you could take the TV out and take it home and keep it in your closet so you don't lose the TV. It has that capability. It's really easy to hook things up to it, video game consoles and stuff, by unclipping the TV. Only takes a second to do it, but I'm holding this so I'm not going to do it right now. Outside stereo speakers, so you can listen to music or you can stream the TV to the speakers. Side view cameras. These are the small side view cameras mounted right here on the side. They give a great view. We'll show you that later. Big power aiming wide convex towing mirrors. This is an easy RV to drive with those wide angle mirrors, and the side view cameras makes it driving very easy. Also, because this has the 19.5 inch wheels on it, the wheel cut, which means how sharp you can turn the wheels, is very significant angle, which lets you make tight turns with this motorhome. You'll be surprised how tight you can turn. Up on the front as a weather shielded LED light strip. This is a glowing LED. You know, everybody likes their little LED eyebrows. These are high performance projector headlights. Some RVs have the car style headlights, but these are the Hella headlamp system, which is a very bright, easy to see at night. And then you have the Hella fog lights. All the lenses are clear. You know, they're glass lenses on a lot of these, so they won't fog up like these car style headlights. Up on the cab over there you have LED marker lights, a one-piece windshield with a power sunshade. I love these power sunshades. So when you roll down the power sunshade or roll it up, you know, driving into the sunrise or the sunset, makes it real nice. Hood access, a nice grill on here. These are the chrome mirrors. As we walk inside the Georgetown 31L5, I have the bed set in sleep configuration, so you could visualize what it would be like if you were sleeping in here. We're going to start in the rear. We're going to show you in the back. You have a king size bed. Now, king size beds are pretty rare in motorhomes. They're started doing a few more of them, but they're pretty rare. This is a king size bed with a large slide out that extends out, so you have cabinet space and everything in the master suite. Large 32-inch HD TV. You have total privacy with a wooden privacy door in the bedroom. As we walk forward, you have this sleeper sofa. Now this is a pretty neat setup. It's a jackknife sofa, but it's extended away from the wall a little bit, so it's almost a queen size sofa bed. It's slightly bigger than a full-size bed. But then you have this little L over here. That's the 31L. This is the L you have, your L sofa. And it's pretty neat. You could sleep a kid right here. So potentially you could sleep 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 in this area alone. And then over here, potentially 6 or 7. And then up to 8 people could sleep on beds. Now, some of those kids wouldn't be adults, they would have to be kids. But you could definitely sleep 8 kids on beds if they're modest sized kids. If they're teenagers, I mean, that's pretty much adult size, so maybe less. But as we look at the floor space here, there is enough floor space that you could either move around or you could set up one of those inflatable beds on the floor. So if you want to be, the low estimate would be 2 on the rear bed, 3, 4, 5 at least. 5 to 8 people sleep capability. Now as we're going through and we're touring the inside, I'm going to show you how it turns back into a sofa. This is so easy. Just pull the seatbelts out before you fold it. Before you put the seatbelts down, buckle them so they don't fall through. And you just lift up here. Pull it back up. And you're ready for travel. If you want, you can put this section away by removing these 2 sofa cushions. Release the handle and it slides in. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to slip it back out. Put the cushion back in position. And so you can visualize this. Now, this is called a Dream Dinette. It's like a table elevator. Unlike the old design, this is oversized. You just lift it up and lock it into position. Put the cushions into position. See how easy it is? If you had one of these older RVs, like in 05 or older, they didn't have these Dream Dinettes. There were a lot more work to configure. There you go, ready to have breakfast. That didn't take much. One more bed to put away here. The way this one works, it's counterweighted with some lift supports. It's pretty easy, you just fold it up like so. This lifts out of the way and secures the bed in the up position. Now I had to recline the seat so that it doesn't sit on the seat. These seats do swivel around in the front. So as you see, the driver's side is affected by the steering wheel, but that's okay. You have an extra little table right here that goes between the front seats. There you go. If you put the cushion in, you're ready to retract the slides. Now, this, as I specified earlier, features the one control system. So I have a smartphone control of the entire RV right here. So I can open and close the slides from my phone. Look, here's the bedroom slide control. So you can come back to the bedroom with your smartphone you're ready to go somewhere. Let's see how much room we have in the bedroom when we close the slide. So you hit the minus, and I'm closing the slide using my smartphone. Alternatively, if you're in the campground, you could go outside. Make sure when you open it, you're not going to hit a tree or something like that. Super convenient. I'm just holding the button on the iPhone, and it's linked to the RV. So as you see, when we put the slide away, you still have your bed. You could sleep someone in there when you're driving. Now to close this one, I'm gonna recommend, everybody wants to see how much room there is when the slides are closed. Like, for example, can you get to the bathroom? So let's go ahead and look at the main slide. Hitting retract. When you run the slides, you want to make sure that it's not going to hit the chair, that the chair's out of the way, nothing's in the way in the back when you open or close a slide. It comes right in, it's a piece of cake. I'm just holding the button. That's all the way in. That's a nice deep slide, but it slid all the way in. So let's see if we can still get to the restroom. Yes, we can. You see, you can pass right through here. You can get to the restroom. Full restroom access when you're driving down the road. Nice big sink in the restroom area. Large cabinet space in here. Look how deep that is. There's a lot of storage in the restroom. This is actually a big restroom with big cabinet space. Day and night roller shades. You've got your blackout curtains if you like to sleep in. These are slow rise. If you like to sleep in, you close the blackout curtains and you can sleep in. Secure the door. Now I'm gonna open the slide. Everybody likes to see. So opening the slide is just as easy as closing the slide. Now I know that I'm clear of all obstacles, but you want to go out and you make sure that when you open your slide, you don't open it up against the tree. That's where this remote is really cool. You make sure your chair is clear. Let everybody inside know you're going to open the slide. Go out and make sure you don't hit anything, and open it with your remote control, which is actually your smartphone. Super cool. Let's open the bedroom slide, and it's the same thing. It's super easy. Just have to hold the button down. It uses a password, and it seems very difficult to hack, so you don't have to worry about your neighbors accidentally operating your slide outs. There you go. See how fast that was? This video is not that long. There you got side bay view windows next to the bed, so you can peek outside. You've got a rear window. Not a lot of RVs have a rear window. It's really nice. If you're backing up and you have someone to help you, they can stand here and look out the window and say, keep going, turn left, turn right. Alternatively, you could have somebody outside, but if it's raining, you could be inside looking to make sure you don't back into a tree. Of course, you have backup camera and side view camera, all those advanced safety features in the driver's station. We don't want to miss the kitchen. One of the biggest deals for people is the kitchen. This has a large kitchen. It's got this really nice kitchen faucet, professional style. Sink covers, 3-burner gas cooktop with a glass countertop space extender. Super easy to light. You just turn it there and it lights. All 3 burners fully operational. See, all 3 burners are on. You only need 1 usually, but you have 3. If you're in a hurry and you have a really big pan, you could put your giant pan on here and cook for a lot of people. If you have 8 people, having a big pan is nice. Now it has a genuine glass and stainless steel backsplash. This is an easy to clean backsplash, as opposed to some RVs literally just have wallpaper behind. If you splash grease up on the backsplash, this is easy to clean, whereas if you only had just some wallpaper, you might be scrubbing off the wallpaper, and that wouldn't be too much fun. So the newer RVs, some of the nicer ones, are giving you a really nice backsplash. Forest River is known for that on the Georgetowns. Stainless steel microwave oven, full size microwave. That's not the little mini microwave big enough to put a single cheeseburger in. This is a full, like a 1.5 or 2.5 cubic foot interior space microwave. And you have a gas oven underneath. Now for some campers, a gas oven is really important, especially dry campers. If you go dry camping, they have quiet time where they don't want you running your generator. And so what's the difference between dry camp and a regular campground? Now, one thing, when you go camping, you should always make sure you have the Good Sam app. I highly recommend this free app. Looks like that little icon right there. The Good Sam app is really cool because when you want to find a campground, you can select map view. You could be driving anywhere in the country and look at the map and see where the campgrounds are around you. The fancier ones, you can check their ratings. What's the rating? That one's the 9.5, 8.5, and 9 for the different features of the campground. Some campgrounds have lower ratings. I do recommend that you get the Good Sam app. It is free. But if you go to a dry campground, that means there's no electric plug-in, there may be no water plug-in, and there may be no sewer plug-in at the campsite. So it's just as same if you were parking in a parking lot or in the middle of the desert. There's no hookups in a dry campground, and the gas oven lets you cook without running the generator, the gas appliances without running the generator. So if there's somebody sleeping in a tent beside you, you're not going to be bothering them with noises. That's the whole point of a dry campground. Now, a lot of people only want to go to full hookup campgrounds where you have water, sewer, and electrical, and then it won't matter because you don't need to run the generator to use anything in the RV. You're plugged in just like it's like a house on wheels, and everything works perfect. Now, one of the super features of this RV is the full size, residential size 18 cubic foot refrigerator. Now, pay close attention as I explain about refrigerators. There's different types of refrigerators. Some of the newer RVs give you a residential refrigerator like you would have in your house, meaning it has a compressor that runs on 110 volt power to cool the refrigerator. Those are pretty good. Those cool the refrigerator down really fast, so even if you throw some warm drinks in there, it'll cool them down fairly quickly. Other RVs have like a two-door refrigerator which runs on ammonia and water mix behind the refrigerator, and it has a heating element that heats that up. It does a chemical reaction to make it get cold in the refrigerator. Those take a lot longer to cool down, so you don't want to throw a bunch of warm food in an absorption. That's called an absorption style refrigerator, not a compressor, but an absorption style. And those can take a lot longer to cool down, especially if you throw a lot of warm food. This one is a compromise between the two, because the absorption style, they run on propane or 110 volt and the RV battery, but they're very energy efficient, which means you could probably dry camp all week long and it won't be draining down your power, as opposed to those residential refrigerators, which they can drain your battery power down in 1 day just for the refrigerator, or even faster, especially if you have a lot of people going in and out constantly, in and out of the refrigerator, and it's constantly working, draining that 110 volt power. Now if you're dry camping, those need an inverter to provide the 110 volts, which means they're running off the RV battery and they're draining it really fast. So then you got to get solar on the roof, and it gets more complicated. This is a absorption style refrigerator, so it's the high efficiency, but this newer one has circulation fans to make it get cold much faster and transfer BTUs of heat much more efficiently. So it's a compromise. You can dry camp with this. It doesn't drain the RV battery in a hurry, but this RV does have an inverter on it too, to power all your AC plugs and run your systems. You have an inverter unit right here. This is the controls for it. It's hidden somewhere under in your cargo compartments, but the inverter controls are right there. It tells you what the battery voltages are so you can maintain it, and then if you need to, you can start the generator. Big 40-inch TV over the fireplace. Actually, that might be bigger than a 40-inch. I think it's a 40-inch TV. A fully functioning RV fireplace. Okay, it looks like real fire, but it's not real fire. It's pretend fire, but it does get hot. There are a series of control buttons here. You've seen space heaters, bathroom heaters, those type of things. So there's a space heater built into the fireplace. So if you turn on the heat function, it will get hot and it will heat the inside of the RV. And if you're at a full hookup campground, that can be really nice, because with electric heat, you're not using propane. So use electric heating, like a space heater, to heat up the whole interior of the RV without using any propane, because propane, you have to buy it, and the electricity is usually included in the cost of the campsite. So you can take full advantage of the heating capability when you do your winter camping. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 buttons across right here to control the different features. You can turn it off, or you can turn it on. You can make it darker, brighter. Looks real for the most part. It's very nice. So this RV also has, in addition to the fireplace, you have this high efficiency, high BTU air conditioning units, which feature handheld remote control. So let's look at the different functions. This has heater control or air conditioning control, or it can just dry the air. If you're in a place like Florida, Orlando, where it's very humid and you want to dry the air in the coach, it has the capability to dry out the air, dehumidify it. And it has a sleep timer, so you can set it to turn the AC off automatically after a certain number of hours. And there's 2 of them. This is your second unit right here. This controls the bedroom AC. Of course, you can turn it on or off from the handheld remote. This also has the heat setting. So if I go here and I go mode, different modes, you can control it right here with a handheld remote. Little switches to turn on and off your LED lighting. The whole coach is lit with, illuminated with LED lights. It's all LED lighting in here. These LED lights, they're very energy efficient, so your batteries will last a long time even if you leave all the lights on. They don't waste energy producing heat from the light bulbs. The old style RVs had incandescent light bulbs which drain the battery fairly quickly. So you can have very long battery life with this coach. Large storage drawers in your bedroom. Now this RV supports a washer dryer combination unit. Now it doesn't have one in it now. It's closet space, but you don't need the closet space if you put a washer and dryer in here, because you can always have clean clothes on your long RV trips. So their washer and dryer units cost about $1,000 for an RV, and it does both washing and drying from a single unit. So for example, you put your clothes in here and you set it and you forget it, and the washer will wash the clothes and then it will dry the clothes, so when you take them out, they're done. There's a place for an exterior vent to mount the vent. If you go to a shop like Camping World, sometimes they have a promotion that they'll put in an appliance for $49 installation, but you can ask them. They might charge you more than that, but it does have all the plumbing and drainage in there. It's a very nice to have a washer and dryer in your RV, because if you want to drive cross country, you don't need to stop at laundromats. You're fully self-contained. So this is your drain with your J trap for the water to go out. Your hot and cold water lines are in here. All you have to do is connect them up. They do sell washer dryer units that don't have to vent to the outside of the coach, but I do recommend that style. So it is recommended that you cut a hole and vent to the outside. Otherwise it gets really humid when you're drying your clothes in the RV. But if you're in a dry place, it might be nice to have humidity in there. But if you're in a humid place, you may not like that. There's additional storage above the bed. There's additional wardrobe storage right here. So you can hang your clothes. You can make your nice long trip and have clean clothes every day and not bring that much clothes with you. There's a lot of basement storage where you can keep additional clothes. In addition to the refrigerator we were talking about earlier, we have our pantry, sliding out pantry, so you can store your food in here. Second pantry down below. So there's 5 pantry drawers. Your kitchen storage drawers right here. I keep my extra screws that I'm look for and find. Look under the kitchen sink here. Good condition, no problems. You have storage that you can open up to access underneath the Dream Dinette seats. So you can throw all your bottled water under the seat. Easy access to bottled waters and sodas and beers and things like that, whatever you bring with you. And additional storage above the sofa. So your gadgets and gizmos you can put up here. There's USB ports stashed throughout the coach. So we're going to cover the driver's control center. Now I do have 2 sets of keys for this. I have both of the original sets of keys for it, for all of the compartments. And right now the current odometer reading is 4,072. I bought it with 3,000 and change, and I drove it from Sacramento to Riverside, California. That's about 400 or 500 miles. The generator only has 41 hours on the generator. 41.1, so the generator is like brand new. We've got tilt wheel, cruise control, battery emergency jump start. If you dry camp and you run one of your batteries low, you can jump start with a battery boost. Heated mirrors, power mirrors. Not all motorhomes have power mirrors. This one does. An LED light on the front, the LED light strip, and you have fog lights controlled right here. Your headlight control and your dimmer control, which you've got reading lights. So by spinning the dimmer switch to the left, it turns on the map lights over the driver and passenger area. They're not too bad, not too intrusive. They're nice map lights here that help you to see inside the coach and so forth. So cruise control, tilt wheel, driver's information toggle, so we can check outside temperature. That's really important if you drive in winter. When you're driving in winter, you always want the temperature gauge to be showing, so you can detect if it's going to get near freezing temperatures when you're driving. You don't want to drive through black ice and not be aware. So you monitor the temperature. When it gets down to 32 degrees or below, you start running the risk of you're driving through black ice. I see all these 100-car pileups happen in the wintertime, and that's 100 people that aren't checking the temperature before they drive. You always watch your temperature when you drive in the wintertime. That's got a temperature gauge right there. 390 miles to empty, so how much gas is left in the tank? It's 3/4 of a tank. It says 390 miles to empty. Engine hours, the engine run time, total time on the engine shows 135 hours. And then the trip meter. I really like having a temperature gauge when I'm driving. I use it all the time. I drive more than 8,000 to 10,000 miles a year in RVs. So in the center buttons, we have a microphone for the stereo for Bluetooth hands-free. We have the dash AC control, which is ice cold, works great. A USB port plus 12-volt power ports. A nice Pioneer stereo system. You can feed speakers to the inside or the outside from the stereo. So it has outside entertainment speakers that run off this dash Pioneer stereo, which has Bluetooth. The next model up, if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade it to an Apple CarPlay capable stereo. That would be my preference, but it's up to you. Or Android Auto. The subwoofer speaker. There's a subwoofer on the right, so if you want to enjoy the boom boom sounds, you can enable or disable it. And then the living room speaker. So you got 3 speaker controls to choose what speakers you're going to listen to when you're playing the radio, and enable or disable of the radio on house or engine power. Lots of little cup holders around to stow your drinks. A little map pocket right here. So I'm going to demonstrate the leveling jack system and how you use it very quickly, in case you buy this or a different one, because nobody ever explains it in the videos, but I do. So first, in order to use the leveling jacks, you must have the foot parking brake set. That'll show the brake light will be on the dash that it's set. And then push on power button for about a second and it'll come alive. Now right now the jacks are down, and I'm going to show you how to raise the jacks because it's already level, and I'm going to show you how to bring the jacks up and explain. Of course there's an auto button because it has auto leveling, but it has the manual button over here on the left, which I prefer, which is semi-auto leveling. Now if you push all jacks retract, it's going to bring it up all at once. Unless you're in manual mode, then it'll only bring it up until you let go of the button. So I'm going to press all jacks retract. Now when you do that, it'll also be activated by releasing the parking brake. What you have to be ready for is that if it's up on the jacks and you release them, it's going to drop, which is one of the reasons why I like manual leveling button over the auto leveling button. When you auto level, a lot of campgrounds are low in the front, so by auto leveling you lift the front tires up off the ground, which is not recommended. If the front tires are off the ground and you hit all jacks retract, your front is just going to drop like a 0G, almost 0G, very low G. You're going to have this sudden drop, and if you're not ready for it, somebody might trip and fall. So you have to be ready for it. Warn everybody before you do that. Which is, we've got a blinking light over here on the left side. That means the left side is low. The blinking light means you have a low side. Now I'm going to press manual, and I'm going to raise the right side first and then the left side, and then I'm done. If I do auto, it'll raise one jack at a time, and then it'll go and it'll be level, but the RV will be physically higher up off the ground than if you just use the manual button. And remember, manual is semi-auto, so the low side is the left side. So I'm going to lower the jacks on the high side first. By doing that, I'm listening to the noise of the jack motor running, and then first one pad will touch it, the RV will move slightly, and the other pad, and then it starts to lift, right? I pushed it until both jacks, one touched and then the other touched, and it started rolling to the left further. So now the low side is even lower. So now I press and hold the left button and I don't let go until it stops by itself. This is the best way to do it. I'm pressing. Now the side is coming up and it stopped by itself. The RV is now level left and right. That's it. Super easy. And that was using the manual button. But when you go outside, you'll notice that the front tires are not lifted off the ground, which can often happen if you use auto. Now if you're in a campground where the front is low and you try to lift the tires off the ground, which is not recommended, and then the jack travel runs out, it's still not going to be level, but you're going to be out of travel. But doing a left to right, the way I just showed you, that's the best way to handle it for almost any campground. And then that'll get you as low to the ground as you can and still be mostly level. If you want to be picky, then you could raise the front or raise the rear manually if you wanted to. But now I'm going to release the parking brake, and it's doing the automatic emergency retract of the jacks. They're all blinking and beeping at us, but it's not hurting anything. But you don't want to drive until the jacks are all the way up and retracted, because if it's not all the way up and you hit something, you could bend the jack, and that would be bad. But see, now it's done, and it says the jack down light is off, so we're good to drive. So one of the features that I really like about these Forest River Georgetowns is the power window shade. As you see, it's about halfway down right now. I could be literally driving head on into the sunset or the rising sun, and I can adjust the shade down low enough that it's not shining in my face, but I can still see the road. Or you can raise it up a little bit higher and have better view. One of the big negatives or positives of A-class motorhomes is you get a lot of sun coming in, and these roller shades, you can adjust them to minimize the amount of sun coming in on you, which is really nice feature. I can still see my mirrors. Of course, I mentioned I have side view cameras. Side view camera view, when I turn on the signal, it appears. Let's go for a little quick test drive. Now this one has the 6-speed automatic transmission, which was new. Ford first introduced the 6-speed transmission in 2016. So that mostly came out on like 2017 models. This is a 2018 model. So if you buy a 2017 model, you may or may not get the 6-speed transmission. You have to check that. But this does have the 6-speed automatic transmission. And because of that, the engine RPMs stay a lot lower when you're coming up over mountains. It seems to do a lot better on gas mileage versus the 5-speed transmissions, or before 2005 they had a 4-speed transmission. So extra gears in the transmission helps with gas mileage. So we're going to do some quick maneuvering. I'm going to turn on my turn signal, and the side view camera appears on the navigation screen. Try to keep the glare off to have an extra perspective to see if somebody's in your blind spot. We're going to back into a cul-de-sac here. See how maneuverable this RV is. So I'm going to put on my rear view camera. When I put it in reverse, it's going to come on automatically. I just pulled to the curb. I'm going to wait for this vehicle to pass as I shift it into reverse. Now I can hear sound coming from the stereo, which is from the rear microphone. So if anybody yells at me, hey, stop, 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 you can hear them yelling at you. But I'm looking at my mirrors. looking at my backup camera, and I'm backing right down this cul-de-sac. I'm gonna go around the car that's parked. I can see a car in my mirror and on my backup camera to make sure we're not gonna hit it. We're just backing down this cul-de-sac, coming parallel to these parked vehicles. It's a piece of cake. You could back it in your driveway, no problem. As we go forward around these parked vehicles, I'm checking my visibility, make sure we're all clear. It's got plenty of power to go over hills. You could tow a trailer. It's a standard length, it's under 35 feet, so it's easy to drive. It's kind of like driving a UPS truck. If you've ever driven, you know, this is what I've been telling people lately. If you're afraid of driving an RV this size, what you can do is go to a driving school, a truck driving school. It'll teach you how to drive the big semi-trucks, and pay for a 30-minute lesson, and take one of those big 18-wheelers out for a test drive. And then when you go downgrade to something like this is going to be a piece of cake. You're not going to feel so intimidated, because you're going to know you already drove an 18-wheeler and this is a lot easier. Because driving one of these, maybe you've never driven one until you have, and it's not that bad. It's a piece of cake. It's not much different than driving a car. You just have to realize when you're turning corners, you're in a longer vehicle, that's all. Whenever customers come and buy my RVs, they say, hey, how do I use this? How do I use that? Well, I'm including it in the video so you can watch the video. You know, if you stop using it for 3 months and you can't remember everything, I'll leave the videos up on YouTube and you can watch those. Or if you bought one from a different seller, you can watch my video and figure out how to use everything. Now this is really important to pay attention to. This model Georgetown has a crowned roof. The older Georgetowns had a mostly barely crowned roof, but this one has a steeper crown to it that keeps water from accumulating on top, and has a full fiberglass roof panel. So the fiberglass sheet is all over the entire roof. So one-piece fiberglass roof. The gaps around the edges are sealed, similar to those plastic rubber bladder roofs, but this is a much stronger fiberglass roof. Has a weatherproof vent covers up on top. These are the translucent, more expensive translucent covers. You can see the vent inside, but they keep the sun from ruining your vents. You know, here's a common problem with RVs. You park your RV in storage and then the winds blow. Maybe you've owned it for a couple years and then you don't realize that the covers have become brittle, and then the wind blows, they blow off, then it rains and all the water goes in your coach. So these vent covers are really important. Every RV should have these because they prevent the vents from blowing off or getting beaten down by the sun. And if they are open, water and snow and stuff can't get inside. It just flows off the side. And this crowned roof, it's quite a bit of crown on this roof. It really helps to let water run off the side. Full fiberglass roof. You have a second vent cover, translucent. So the translucent, they have black, white, or translucent. We put the more expensive translucent ones on here so the light will still go through, so it works like a little skylight. And you have the bigger air conditioning units, high performance digital television antenna, and your satellite radio antenna, and your radio antenna. Your slide topper awning's in good condition. Your main awning has a metal shroud to protect it. If you notice Another thing that goes wrong with a lot of RVs is the awning is out there in the sun, getting the sun beating on it, and then eventually the cracks becomes brittle and you have to replace it. But this has a metal shroud over the awning to protect it so it won't be fading in the sun. This is a more expensive awning material. That's a nice feature. It's only on the nicer motorhomes where you find that feature. And over here is your refrigerator vent and your restroom vents so that your plumbing works correctly. You have roof vents for the plumbing pipes. That's standard, like you would have on the top of a house. And then the slide out fabric is also in good condition over the bedroom slide out. That about covers the roof. All the seals are in, I mean, this is a 2018, they're like brand new. One thing when you own an RV, you do want to go up on the roof every year and check your seals. This is something called lap sealant, and you want to check them for cracks. If they are cracking, you can get a tube of that for like $9 and you can put new lap sealant on here. But if that's something that you neglect and you don't catch it as the motorhomes get older, eventually this sealing surface can dry out after 5, 10, 15 years depending where you live. And if you get cracks in here, then the water can get in. So you do periodically have to check these and reseal these every year. You got to check those. Sometimes you might have a tree branch come by and whack something, so it's always good to check your roof every year before the rainy season. So now I'm going to take you underneath and inspect under the chassis of this 31L5. You see the trailer hitch with your 7-pin connector. That's a V5 rated hitch, so it can tow a 5,000 pound trailer, 500 pound tongue weight. There's your 80-gallon fuel tank, your hydraulic leveling jacks, your tire treads and mud flaps, mud guards, shock absorbers, differential underneath. Another look at your tires and your springs. Everything is in good shape. It hasn't been in the rain, snow, or salt to get all rusty underneath. It's nice and clean underneath. Your catalytic converter, your triple power step, your front hydraulic leveling jacks, and your steering and front suspension and tires. Everything is in good shape. Notice there's no leaks, no fluid dripping or seeping out of any orifices underneath. Your engine oil pan, radiator grills, transmission cooler, power steering cooler, tire treads, nice and thick. You want to check your tires every year and look between the treads just to make sure they're not cracked. As long as they're not cracking on your tires, the tires are still good. Generally, you want to look for cracks. That's your propane tank. Camera's ziggling around a little bit. That's the bottom of the generator and the generator exhaust. Notice your roto molded storage compartments. They will never rust. Again, another look at your tire treads. Tire sidewalls all in good condition. No scuffs. This only has 3,000 miles on it. That is the J tube for draining the waste tank and your fuel fill points. Trailer and taillight wiring, and the bolts for the trailer hitch, frame rails. So thank you for watching the video about the 31L5 Georgetown GT5. This Georgetown is built by Forest River, and the Forest River Motorhome Company is owned by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett thought it was a great company. It's been in business and never went bankrupt. See if this motorhome is still available. Check out my website, mybestcar.com. The company name is A Buyer's Choice. That's who you pay your check to, the owner of A Buyer's Choice. My name is Mike Johnson. If this RV is still available on my website and you have questions, or if you want to see my other RVs, similar RVs that are available on my website, give me a call, 951-681-2101. Thank you for watching.